do is let these children introduce themselves. So I'm going to hand the microphone over to these individuals here. So we'll start with Makhi in the middle, and he'll tell you why we're starting with him first.
Oh, hello everyone. My name is Makhi, Ettienne-Modeste, and I am the 2022 Connecticut's Kid Governor. And I really chose my platform because I love animals, and the fact that I knew that they were being hurt, I really wanted to help. So in my community, I ran for Kid Governor, and I really wanted to raise awareness for that animal abuse and their awareness of animals getting hurt and how we can donate to local animal shelters too.
Hello, my name is Maddy. I ran on the platform of Kids and Anxiety. The reason I did this is because I personally suffer from anxiety, and especially during the pandemic. And I thought, what if I'm not the only one who suffers from anxiety as well? And so, my platform is about awareness. I'm bringing awareness to kids and anxiety and helping them get through the tough times.
Thank you. And as I'm passing the microphone over, so I just want to also say that these children were in 5th grade when they were elected. So these are very young children, but young minds also are very empowered, and they inspire all of us because we know that all of these things are issues that impact not just them, not just children, but there are adults with the same issues, the same problems, or see the same things that we need to work to try to solve.
Hi, my name is Satvik, and I ran from a platform of climate change. I chose climate change as my platform because I wanted to raise awareness about climate change and inform other kids and adults about how much it's affecting the earth, because there's been more forest fires, droughts, severe weather, stuff like that. So, and I just want to spread more awareness about it.
Thank you. And we, as I walk out here, seeing examples of climate change right now, like unfortunately the storm that impacted our friends down in Florida, and how climate change exacerbated that situation and made it a much stronger storm than what people used to experience down in that area. So Olivia, handing the mic to you.
Hi, my name is Olivia Campbell, and I'm from New London. I ran on a platform of food insecurity because it's a big issue in my community, and I wanted to help change that.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Becker, and my platform was also climate change like Satvik. I noticed a lot of extreme weather happening in my community, and I wanted to try and inform people and students so that they could help make a change in climate change.
Thank you. So let me tell you a little bit about the Kid Governor program. It's a national award-winning civics program created by the Connecticut Democracy Center at Connecticut's Old State House, with major partnership and funding and support from Connecticut Humanities. Launched in 2015 in Connecticut, is now a national movement with programs in other states. This year's Kid Governor's Cabinet is led by Kid Governor Makhi, who we heard from a little bit earlier, and includes the final 6 candidates in the 2021 statewide election. Each cabinet member was elected based on the 3-point campaign platform and the work they're doing in their community. And I encourage everybody to go to the website ct.kidgovernor.org. And what is CTKG? I encourage all of you to look up the Kid Governor program, very inspiring. I just say this from a personal standpoint. A couple of years ago, when my son was a 4th grader at his elementary school in Milford, a 5th grader in his school won the Kid Governor program. She was the Kid Governor for a year, and it's something that the kids in that school look forward to every year now because they know that one of their own made and it was selected Kid Governor. And so it's very important, and it's an opportunity to learn a little bit more about how civics works as well and why it's important to raise your voice. So right now, speaking of raising our voice, so we're going to start with you, Makhi, and your platform of protecting our pets. So my question to you is, what made you so passionate about your mission to educate people on the importance of protecting animals and preventing animal abuse?
So what really made me passionate about protecting our pets is really about how I have my own pets at home, and I really think that that's an important issue that a lot of people should be learning about, and I wanted to really impact people and see really what they would think and also how they can help these pets that are being abused. And I never want to see any animal being hurt in any way or even just sad in a way. So that really breaks my heart that I know that that's happening, and I hope that that doesn't even an issue that stays.
All right, thank you. So you guys are going to hold on to that mic, and I have this one now. So Madeline, I'm going to hand the mic to you for a second. Madeline. So you mentioned your platform is kids and anxiety is on the rise in young children, especially after this pandemic, and we all know about the social and emotional impacts of the pandemic. You mentioned something, but what made you take a personal interest in addressing this issue?
Well, I personally suffer from anxiety, especially during the pandemic, and I thought, what if other kids also suffer from anxiety too? Lots of times, kids don't know how to put their feelings into words, or they're too embarrassed to admit it. That's why I chose the platform of Kids and Anxiety.
Thank you. So we're going to okay, thank you. So climate change. We talked a little bit about it as we walked over here, and two of you have the platform of climate change, so we're going to talk to both of you back to back here on this issue. But what do you think are some of the biggest challenges surrounding climate change?
I think that the biggest challenge surrounding climate change is the lack of education and awareness about this issue. Climate change is everywhere, and we can already see it in raging forest fires, droughts, rising sea levels, and flooding, causing so much harm. Despite these consequences, actions to combat climate change are not as seen as a priority to many, simply because they are not aware of this issue and its dangerous effects. Because of the lack of this education, we continue on to be heavily dependent on greenhouse gas emitting fossil fuels, plastic, styrofoam, and more, all of which worsen our situation. While spreading awareness is necessary for more proper action to be taken, there is an overall lack of education among the general public, which I see as the greatest challenge in this journey to a healthier environment.
Thank you. Now you talked about climate change as well, and I'm going to ask you a question in a second. But yesterday, as part of KC 2022, we had a woman who is a comic book author. And what she does basically is she uses the comic book style to teach about science and technology and things of that nature. One of the things that she has done in her lifetime is she's gone down to Antarctica. So she's one of the few people in the world who's been to Antarctica. Most of us will never go there, but she went there and she drew one of the base stations where they do a lot of scientific experiments down there. And one thing that she talked about is the fact that there is a glacier that is behind this station where they set up. And that the glacier has actually melted more than a half mile away from the coastline. And before it was all frozen, all ice. And now that glacier is melting very fast down there. And so that is just one example of climate change, that down in Antarctica, the glaciers are melting. And so the sea is rising, and there are other issues that are related to that sort of thing happening. So the fact that these youth activists are talking about climate change, it's an issue of our time right now. It's not just impacting, the adults that are around, but, you guys will be here a lot longer than us adults. And so this is an issue that we all need to tackle. So I'm glad that two of you are talking about that issue. So Elizabeth, I'm going to ask you now, what are some of the main reasons why you felt that climate change has to be addressed?
Well, in my community, I saw a lot of climate change, and I didn't really want to see the next generation living and trying to struggle with climate change and trying to deal with it because the people before us didn't do anything. So I want to make sure the next generation and many generations after us have a safe planet for us to live in.
Thank you. And like Olivia. So we're talking climate change, but it also ties into this other topic that we were talking about, food insecurity, because as the climate changes, things don't grow the same way they did before. Places that used to produce lots of food are now arid, dry places. With drought that's happening, we're going to hear more and more about food insecurity. But food insecurity is also an issue that impacts people on a day-to-day basis right here in the United States. There's so many people around who don't know where their next meal is coming from. So, Olivia, I'm going to ask you, tell me about the moment you decided to take action to help try to prevent child food insecurity.
Well, when I was in 5th grade, during social studies, my teacher said, you guys have the opportunity to run for the governor. I think that'd be a great platform, a great way to make a change on the issue. And way back in 3rd grade, actually, a kid took one of my snacks. I was mad, but when I got home, I told my mom, and she said that maybe they didn't have any food, so they said your snack, because that's all the food they were going to get for the day. And so I started bringing more than one snack every day to school. And where I live in London, and they were very low socioeconomic rate. So food insecurity is a very big issue where I live, and I didn't like seeing it in the community. It stops people from moving there when they see that there's so many people who are food insecure. So I thought it would be cool if I could run on it, and I did, and it worked out.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And food and water and things like that, those are basic needs that every human has. And when you don't have access to it, when you don't have the ability to know where your next meal is coming from, it's hard to focus or concentrate on other things as well. So if you're talking about children, if somebody has a food insecure background, it's very difficult to expect them to do well in school when they're very hungry. But I'm going to now bring the microphone out here to the audience a little bit. So we've heard a little bit from each one of our kid governor and cabinet members here. I'm wondering, are there any questions from any of the Yes to volunteers here for any of these wonderful activists here? Any questions about any of the platforms? So while you guys think of a question, and I'm just going to start picking on people soon, so just know that that's coming in a second here. Makhi, I'm going to ask you really quickly. If you can mic to Makhi, please. Can you tell me a little bit about the 3 parts of your platform, the 3 planks that are there?
So, of course, I have 3 points of my platform, and my first point of my platform for protecting our pets is an educational program I did back in March with the Department of Agriculture and the Connecticut Humane Society, and we talked about how we can donate and help animals in our own communities, and also how we can really just pay attention to the signs of animal abuse inside our community. In my second point of my platform, which I did back in April, which was a poster contest throughout Connecticut, where 5th graders submitted artwork that showed the answer to the question, how can you help animals in your own communities or humane societies or shelters? And really, I saw amazing admissions, and I definitely think that was one of my favorite points of my platform. And I know that a lot of people took a lot of time, and there was amazing submissions. Now, my third point of my platform, which was encouraging donating to your local animal organizations, that's really a big point because animals always need help, and I definitely think that these animal organizations or humane societies are definitely one of those big reasons that they can get help in the communities they need, or the food or toys that they really need to survive too.
So we have a question here from someone in the audience.
What is the best?
Wait. Say your name and where you're from.
way to cope with anxiety?
So that's for you, Madeline.
Well, first of all, tell your adult or guardian. They know you best and they know the best strategy. Some strategies are maybe
So take your time. Just 'cause, like I said, this is a group of friends here. This is just a conversation between us in the room.
well, something that helps me is doing a breathing square where you breathe in before, breathe out before, breathe in before, breathe out before, and do that as many times as you need to calm down. Also, maybe read a book. When you're reading a book or watching something, you are more focused on that than you are on your anxiety, and then that's sort of what you do. And that's
Let's give her a hand. And I just want to say to all of you, but particularly you right now because you just spoke, Madeline, that we really do appreciate you sharing and opening up to us about the things that matter to you. And especially when you're talking about something like anxiety, you know, we understand that that's a challenge. But to be honest with you, I can tell you that every person in this room also battles that same challenge at times. I grab the microphone right now and I speak, but a little bit of anxiety before I speak. And especially on a day like today, wanting to make sure that we have a great conversation between you and others. I can tell you that I had a little anxiety before this session started, so thank you for sharing. And again, everyone, please give her a hand. And speaking of being anxious, I'm anxious to have someone here also ask a question. Anyone here have a question still? Thank you so much. Please share your name and where you're from.
Hi, my name's Amelia and I'm from Norwalk, Connecticut. My question is, hi, sorry if I butchered the name. How do you plan to help take the animals away from the abuser?
Oh, really, I know that's a big question, and there's a lot that not even just me, but also you can do to really help if you see someone abusing a pet. So really, there's also, humane societies and also the Department of Agriculture. There's officers that also look into the homes of maybe the abusers and see if anything's going wrong or if they see anything out of order, because I really think that's a special thing that you can do if you see a pet in distress. I know that that's one of the big helplines that, you can really call corresponding, but my answer is really that you can do that too, but in a way, I would just say to call your local animal organizations or animal officers.
Thank you. We have a question over here.
Hi, Madeline, I want to say to you, as a mom or a person who suffers with anxiety and has suffered with anxiety, this is very cool of you, and it's an awesome platform because it's needed. So thank you very, very much. And unfortunately, I can't see your name. I think it's Olivia for Food Security. My question to you is, who do you work with and how are you helping to resolve the food insecurity in your community?
Thank you. Natasha is one of our board members here at Stepping Stone Museum for Children.
Well, most recently what I did is I volunteered at General Moran Pantry. It's a local food pantry they have in my community. And they did a drive-by, you could walk by and just get some food if you needed it. Also, there was Ration on the Walk for food justice. And I thought that's a really cool idea, so I thought I might get behind it. And I ended up raising $1,100 for that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Share your name and where you're from before you ask your question.
I'm Sarah, and I'm from Stamford, Connecticut. So I have a question for Madeline. So I have a sister, and we both have like anxiety, and a couple times when my parents would leave us at home for specific reasons, and she would sometimes get scared that like when they don't come home quickly enough. So she sometimes gets like really scared, like if something happened to them, and she would start crying sometimes, and I would go to her and comfort her for a little bit, and sometimes I would also get like, some anxiety attacks during school.
Thank you for sharing. And do you have any tips to kind of help someone else? Like with, not just when you're dealing with anxiety, but how do you help someone else get through an episode?
Just saying, I also suffer when my parents would come home and I completely freak out. But for the sister, when they're not coming home quick enough, try to have your mind distract on something else. Because like I said earlier, if your mind is on something else, you don't really think about your anxiety. And during school, I'm trying to create a calm-down box with each school in Connecticut. A calm-down box is a box full of stressful topics and feeling journals to help kids with all their anxious thoughts and fears. So when a kid is stressed during school, they can go over there, take a couple of minutes to breathe and calm down, and then they come back to class.
Thank you. You can hand the mic to Satvik here. I'm going to ask Elizabeth and Satvik the same question. And so, you're going to answer first because you have the microphone, but how can students help raise awareness about climate change?
I think young people, by first recognizing the significance of climate change and becoming a role model for themselves, can be a big source of inspiration to others. They can also start clubs. To start conversations about climate change, organize a poster competition like I did, and most importantly, contact their local leaders to show their concern and advocate laws to protect our planet.
All right, thank you. If you guys can hand the microphone now, Elizabeth, it's the same question. How can youth raise their voice to support efforts to fight climate change?
Well, there's a lot of different things that you can do, but one thing I did last year is I passed out flyers explaining what climate change is and giving some ideas of how you can stop it, and I passed it out to the whole grade. And you can also put up flyers, or you can write a letter to your elected official and urge them to take action on climate change.
Thank you. Good answer. Are there any questions here on the floor for anyone?
My name's Jacob, and I'm from Scottsdale, New York, and I was wondering what organizations you use to help fight climate change.
Thank you.
There's a lot of different organizations that you can use, and I don't know any off the top of your head, but off the top of my head, but I'm sure you could find different organizations on the internet that you can donate, and that could probably have great tips for helping fight climate change.
Thank you.
Hey guys, you're doing a great job. I'm Danielle from Norwalk, I'm here with Thank Girls. I want to know what our climate change folks have as practices in your house that you do to try to combat climate change and to be more eco-friendly.
Well, there's a lot of things that I do, like when I leave a room, I make sure that all the lights are off to save energy, and try not to leave water running, like when I'm doing the dishes or taking a shower, I just don't let the water run. I turn it off when I'm not using it to save lots of water and energy.
Thank you. Can you pass the mic down to Satvik so you can answer the same question?
It's sort of like Elizabeth. Just take shorter showers, unplug all the devices for nights. Turn off the light when you leave a room. Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
So you guys are telling me that you don't take 45-minute showers like my 14-year-old son? I mean, he tells me it's impossible to not have a 45-minute shower right now, and it drives me insane when I'm trying to tell him to save water, especially when we all are experiencing a drought right now in the state of Connecticut. So let me ask this question to all of you, and so you have the mic, so we're just going to pass it down, but tell me what this Kid Governor program has done for you. What does it mean to have been elected as a Kid Governor or as part of the cabinet this year, and having this statewide platform to be able to talk about the issues that matter to you?
It felt great to be a part of this program because you get to share your voice with other kids and adults about things that are happening in life, like change or just basically change. And also, it's really nice to work with all my cabinet, the other cabinet, and the governor, and to just work with them and just have fun and stuff. It's pretty nice.
Thank you.
But like Satvik said, it feels amazing to be part of this program because in this program, you have the opportunity to share your opinions and have a voice in this big world, and to try to bring awareness to an issue you feel more passionate about. This feels amazing, and it has been, and if I could, I would do it all over again.
Fantastic, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, after that, because you're going through with it, I'm sorry.
I'm definitely gonna go off what Madeline and Simon said. I definitely would do this again. It's been a great program, and I know it's not done, but it feels like it ages, and in a good way too. Like, I've made a lot of friends during this program, and I've definitely had fun the whole way, and I definitely think that I got to get my point across on the world, and also really give my opinion on what I feel like doing, or really my platform too. So yeah, I definitely would do this again. Like Madeline said, it's been very fun.
I agree a lot with what Satvik, Madeline, and Makhi have said. Like, it's an amazing experience, and it's a really cool thing that we've had the opportunity to be able to project our voices and make a change in our community. And like Madeline and Makhi said, I wish I could do it all over again because it seems like it went by so fast.
I think it was a very amazing opportunity that I'm glad I got to have, and glad that I can make my voice heard on a bigger level than I could if I didn't get this opportunity, and made a couple of friends along the way too.
Thank you, everyone. We have a question over here.
So first of all of you deserve a huge round of applause. It's very commendable what you did. I have a question for Madeline. How long did it take you to build up the courage to be where you are today?
It took a long time. Personally, I'm still building up, but it's been a long, tough journey through all the years to get up to be speaking in front of a crowd. And I believe that it has helped me a lot with public speaking and in my classes also.
Thank you. One of the things I always say here at Stepping Stones is it takes a village to raise a child, and I know that's an old saying that people say all along the way, but I'm just letting you know, and all five of you know, that your village has expanded today. You have all of us now too, so just know that we're all there in support of you, and even though your Kid Governor reign and your cabinet reign is ending, we really do appreciate everything, so thank you. Thank you for stepping up and doing this. So I have one final question for each one of you, so we're going to pass the microphone down again. So we're going to try for Satvik one more time and just pass it down. As I said before, my kids went to a school where a kid governor was elected, and when Jessica was elected that year and then afterwards, she was an absolute rock star in the school. So how has it been at home for you now? Like, that you've been elected to the kid governor, or the cabinet, like you said, both. How's that been back at school? Like, have people been treating you differently? Have you gotten any local notoriety? Like, have you been in the newspaper or anything like that? Like, talk about those types of things, related to this, because I think it is awesome that you children have done what you're doing. But, the important thing is when you do get these opportunities, all of a sudden, you can use your platform to speak to other people about the things that matter to you.
Yeah, in fifth grade, people did treat me a little differently. Especially my reading teacher, her name is Dr. Shaw, and she would usually just call me, governor of the school. She'd always just call me that, and my teacher, and also my classmates, they were all, like, when they announced, when we were in the first round, like the 1 minute 30 second video, they announced everyone, I just went outside to pack, and then pack because the school day was ending, and everyone was like, how does it feel to be governor of the school? Oh God. But when we were doing like the top 7 in 3 minutes, I was the last one to be announced, and I remember everyone when Mr. C announced like the second last person, which was Samantha. They said Samantha, like, oh shit, that was S. And I was the last one, so the last one and Satvik. So then everyone cheered. And also I talked like different types of newspaper people, like in my local library, and some people came to my school to talk about. So I found newspaper. And it's just a really fun experience in general. So I loved it.
Thank you.
Well, during the key governor election, it was definitely, I was known, because I don't really like to put myself out there as a girl now. But I remember when we were voting for who would be the runner for our school. I remember the name being called, and I remember Cubby, who we had, was named, and then when my name was called, everyone cheered, and like you could hear it throughout the school. And still to this day, my 4th grade teacher still sometimes calls me the governor.
Awesome. Now we are speaking to the kid governor, so tell us about your story.
Yeah. Big story. But I definitely think we all went a long way, and really at one point I never thought I would do it, but like the little voice inside me said, I can't do this. I really can't. But I knew that even if I didn't do it, why even join? So I really went on with it, and I also wanted to do this because I wanted to see where my limits were, at least at sometimes. And I didn't really like public speaking before that. I literally hated it. That was my #1 fear, probably. But I definitely got better. I definitely improved. And when I was in, I think, my auditorium when they said the Connecticut's kid governor, I literally was crying. Like, I was dead crying, and I was really happy because I definitely couldn't do it without the support of my teachers and my family and my parents. So yeah, and I've done some library circuits these past weeks or months, and it's been really fun because I've got to meet a lot of new kids that want to run for kid governor too, and I definitely can give them a lot of tips, which is nice.
Thank you.
I think that I definitely was excited to participate in the Kid Governor program, and when my name was announced, everybody was screaming, and they were all so happy, and even now people still ask me, hey, what are you doing in the Kid Governor cabinet? Are you still doing stuff? And it just reminds me of all the fun times that we've had doing all these cool things with the Kid Governor program.
Thank you.
I remember when we had our school election, only kids who voted were the fourth and fifth graders. So they were the ones who knew, they were the ones who watched the video when everything got announced. And when they heard my name, that's because there's sort of like a barrier in between like fourth and fifth graders on the second floor and the third and second graders, kind of get split down the middle. So when everybody heard my name, they're all screaming, and you can hear it down the hallway to the second class.
Thank you. And again, I asked that question because I remember when Jessica was voted kid governor in 2017, I believe, right now, at my kid's school. My son was a fourth grader, my daughter was a second grader. And there was a certain buzz through the school that was just totally different than what they used to experience. And kids were kind of floated into the buses at the end of that day. I went to go pick my kids from school. And my daughter came running out as a second grader and said, we got a kid governor, we got a kid governor. So she was really excited about that as well. So again, I want to commend you guys and thank you for serving your term and really stepping up to change problems that exist in our society right now. So lending your voice to the cause and inspiring other children to be able to do it too. And especially because a couple of you now talked about, the lack of interest initially, I'll put it that way, and being a public speaker, but overcoming those fears to be able to do it and to speak in public and to speak out about the things that matter to you. That's so very important. And that's an inspiring takeaway that everybody in this room has right now. We all have the ability to step up and do something to make change. So everyone in the room, please give these children a round of applause. And I know Connecticut's not a big state, it's 55, 100 miles, but thank you all for coming down here to Norwalk today because, and sitting here and looking at all your posters here, none of you live around the corner. Basically, you guys have all driven from somewhere today to get here, long ride. So thank you for coming here. So I know you guys have a cabinet meeting that you're going to be doing shortly, but for everyone else here, we have a group called the Merry Rockers that's going to be performing in our celebration courtyard outside. The Merry Rockers are led by a woman who is dealing with cerebral palsy. And she says that, she uses music as one of her alter abilities to go out there and really rock the house. So they're outside right now in the celebration courtyard. We thank everyone from the Kid Governor program for being here today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brian and team, for coming down here today. We appreciate it. And so you guys have your lunch and cabinet meeting, and everyone else is invited to go out to the celebration courtyard to enjoy some music from the Merry Rockers.